Hey everybody, welcome to the Song Revolution podcast, brought to you by Nashville Christian Songwriters. Nashville Christian Songwriters exists to empower Christian songwriters worldwide. I'm John Chisum, and this podcast exists to bring you valuable songwriting insights, inspiration, interviews, and just all around good fun with some of the greatest songwriters, producers, arrangers, artists, and creatives, and beyond. You can find out a whole lot more about us at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. Hey everybody, John Chisum here, Song Revolution podcast. Today is an incredible day because we have our dear friends, Lucy-Jayne and Drakeford Lanier, otherwise known as Drakeford. Hey guys.
Hi. Hello.
Glad to have ya.
Oh,
super thrilled to be back.
Now, you did a podcast with us earlier last year. I forgot to look at the episode number, but pretty early on
it was
in the history of the Song Revolution. And now we are over 50,000 downloads,
Wow.
75 episodes.
That's amazing.
And it is crazy. It's just awesome.
Gosh,
and
so good.
Just so thankful that you guys could be back on the show and update us.
Yeah.
So many great things have happened in your life, but I think I'd love to just start with a song even before we get into stuff. Is that all right?
Sure. Why not, man?
Let's just kick it off. We're going to share some songs from the new record called The Venture. Are you going to do anything from the other records or just...
We totally can.
Why not?
Can?
If you want
Okay,
to. Sure.
Let's stretch it out. Let's just have some fun. And
Yeah, maybe
relax.
even some songs that aren't on records at all.
Why
Hey,
not?
oh.
That would be cool too.
Exclusive.
Well,
Yeah.
kick us off with something.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. Should we start with Stronger?
Yeah. Let's go
Cool.
for it.
Well, this is the first single that we put out from our latest album, The Venture. It's called Stronger Than One. And it's a song about unity that a church in Atlanta actually commissioned us to write about a Christmas time theme. And the more we talked to them about what kind of a song they wanted, they decided that they didn't want it to be about Christmas at all. They wanted it to be about unity. So we wrote this next one and decided to hang on to it. Are you feeling heavy? Do you have a weight on your back that's too hard to carry? The wind is you still in your tracks. Well, tell me, are you hurting? Do you have a burden like a chain on your neck? Well, let me tell you something. You don't have to live like that. No one soul could never make it alone. But if we all stand together, then we're stronger than one. And when your world starts to crumble, you don't have to run. 'Cause if we all stand together, then we're stronger than one. Have you been rejected? I promise I've been there too. I know how it affects you in every single thing that you do. Well, are you brokenhearted, feeling disregarded, like you got nothing left? Well, let me tell you something. You don't have to live like that. No one soul could never make it alone. But if we all stand together, then we're stronger than one. When your world starts to crumble, you don't have to run. 'Cause if we all stand together, then we're stronger than one. And when you're down, when you're caught out of the rain, when you're not feeling so strong, there within, no matter when there is a hand, you can always count on. Take my word when it hurts so bad, and you're not sure what to do. It doesn't have to be up to you. No, 'cause one soul could never make it alone. But if we all stand together, then we're stronger than one. And when your world starts to crumble, you don't have to run. 'Cause if we all stand together, then we're stronger than one. Yeah.
take that disunity.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, guys.
Oh, thanks, man.
I
thank
love it.
you.
You sound as awesome as ever.
Wow, we appreciate
Yeah,
that.
sing
Too
so
kind.
well together. And you're just beautiful. These guys are some of the best looking people I think I've ever met.
Just
They're
trying to be like you, man.
They're gorgeous.
our life goal.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my goodness.
keep trying. You got a ways to go to catch up with me.
And we're trying to be as humble as you as well.
Exactly, right? Well, I love telling the story of how I met you guys, how we became friends, because we were at a gathering called Artist in Christian Testimony a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And I'd never met you guys. I was leading worship, and Drake comes up to admire my guitar. I have a graphite guitar. And he came up to admire it, and I thought, who's this kid, looking at my guitar? And I thought I was being gracious. And I said, here, you want to play it? And he picked it up, and I'm telling you guys, he started playing it, and I wanted to run screaming from the room and vow to never play the guitar again. Because this guy's amazing. And
Thanks, man.
yeah, so I was blown away, and I asked you guys to sing a song during
Yeah.
that. You weren't even on the bill.
No.
You weren't even part of ACT then.
No, we
So
weren't.
I know we're going to talk about that in a
Yeah.
little bit, that you are now, but
Yeah.
you weren't even part of it. And I asked you to come up and help me lead worship because I saw what an amazing talent you guys have. And you kind of, you took it away, man. You totally upstaged me. And,
No.
That's not true. That's
I'm
not
totally
true.
kidding. I'm totally kidding. That's not your spirit at all. But you got a standing ovation. They loved you guys. You
Gosh.
shared. I think you sang the song "Ruins."
Yep.
Yeah,
was
we
the
did.
song, and one of my faves. I love all your songs, but that one has a special meaning. And maybe because of that moment, but
Yeah.
it kind of began a really great relationship for us, didn't it?
It
Yeah, it
did.
did.
And we kind of, that day kind of was the beginning of so many things for us. And we kind of look back on our relationship with you as kind of the start of our music career, basically.
Yeah, seriously.
So, yeah, just connecting with you that day and starting to meet lots of people in Nashville and just the encouragement that we received from people and the support. And that kind of launched us into kind of giving us the courage, I think, and the boldness to go ahead and start doing music full time. So thank you.
Oh my gosh.
We put it all back to that day.
So when you can't pay your bills, you're going to try to blame me, right?
Thanks, John Chisum.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Not my fault. Disclaimer, not my fault. You follow the Lord into this, not me. But, it's awesome to see what's happened. Now, give us a little recap. And those of you listening, if you haven't heard the first podcast, go check that out. But tell us, I love your story. So remind us, those who haven't heard the first podcast, how you guys met and married, and then kind of catch us up with what's going on now.
Well, you can probably tell that I'm not from Tennessee. I
I
don't know
thought
if
you
you
were
could
from
pick that. But yeah.
Sevierville.
Yeah,
Sevierville.
Close, very close.
Polk County, actually.
Yeah, I'm actually from England, and Drake is from South Carolina. But we didn't meet in England, even though Drake lived there for a while, and I actually lived in the States for a while. We actually met in a small, tiny country in Central Asia called Kyrgyzstan, and we were basically doing mission work out there, and we lived in the Near East as well for about 3 years, and we were on the same team out there doing mission work. It was like a creative arts team that had music and dance, and we had a unicyclist and a juggler, an illusionist, basically anything you can think of, this variety show basically. And we'd go out into the streets of, all over the Middle East and Central Asia, North Africa, and do street performing, gather crowds and share our faith with people. And so that's kind of how our story started, kind of doing that and living overseas. And we were doing that for a few years, and then we moved back to the States to get married in 2014.
Yep.
And and then God kind of called us to move to Chattanooga. So we've kind of hopped around a bit, but that's where we call home now.
Now, how does God call one to move to Chattanooga? How does that happen?
That's a great question. Well,
Yeah.
when we came back to the States, we had good friends that lived in Chattanooga, and we thought that we would only be in America for 1 year after getting married, and then we would just go back overseas and continue our traveling and street performing. And so we wanted a place that was close to both of our families. Despite Lucy-Jayne being British, her parents live in Atlanta. My folks still live in South Carolina. But we wanted somewhere new. So Chattanooga was close. It was affordable. It was beautiful. The spirit of the city is really unique. And if you've never been there, I encourage you to go.
Yes.
But yeah, it was just it was a great place for us to relax and rest and really start our relationship. And
there was actually a girl on our team overseas that was from just outside of Chattanooga, and so she actually was the one that kind of told us about it, told us to go check it out when we moved back, and so we did, and we fell in love with it, and we prayed about it, and we just really had this sense that it was right, and God kind of opened lots of doors, and we found an apartment, and everything just kind of fell in place. So 1 year that we thought it was going to be 1 year living there has turned into 3. So
Wow.
we're still there. So
Wow. And I happen to tear up when I hear that song.
Oh, the Chattanooga
Yeah, I
song.
know. It's like I've only driven through there. I've been down to the Union Station like one time, right?
Okay.
But when you guys are singing about Signal Mountain and whatever it all is,
Yeah.
it's like, dang, I tear up. So have you sent it to the who would it be, not the Better Business Bureau, but the
like
Chamber of
tourism.
Commerce or tourism?
I don't think we have actually pitched it hard enough. But
Oh my gosh, you guys, you have to do that.
yeah, it's certainly a goal.
Yeah, we recorded a video for that song a couple of years ago when we first moved
I
there.
love it.
And it kind of went like chatter viral, if that's even a word I can make
We'll
up.
make it.
Yeah, and it kind of got shared around loads in the city, and it was a real encouragement because I mean, people in Chattanooga just love Chattanooga, and is a tight knit community. So yeah,
It should
we
be the
love it.
theme song for sure. Yeah.
Well, hey, maybe.
I think so.
You guys want to sing it?
Sure.
Didn't plan
Why
on it,
not?
but
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
we've built it up.
Yeah, why not?
It's good because I don't need a capo for this song. and
Nice.
I don't have a capo right now. I can see you moving like the wind in the trees, carving through the mountains like a river to the sea, whispering my name from the hills of Tennessee. This is where you ought to be. And I can see you moving like a thunderstorm in May, rolling through this town maybe once or twice a day, echoing your songs and bringing life along the way. We love this place. The flats of Carolina is where I was born and raised. The distant shores kept me a few thousand miles away. Oh, and only heaven knows just how long we're here to stay. We love this place. I can see it clearly in the bright November trees that set the hills ablaze with their red and golden leaves. This change in the season, I can feel it changing me to the man I ought to be. But the flats of Carolina is where I was born and raised. The distant shores kept me a few thousand miles away. Oh, and only heaven knows just how long we're here to stay. We love this place. We love this place. I'm on the lookout
on 24 to the bridge on Walnut Street. From North Shore to the terminal where Main and Market meet. He brought us here, and from now on, it's where our hearts will be. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
And that's it.
I haven't spent any time there, but wow, it just that song affects me like some of James Taylor's songs.
Oh, wow.
My wife and daughter and I went to see JT in St. Louis just about 2 months ago,
Wow.
and he's like 70
Yeah.
and just kicking it. And when he does Sweet Baby James, and he talks about the turnpike and the whatever, I can't think of it now, but oh my gosh, I tear up, and I don't even know where he's exactly talking about. And that's kind of the way it is with that. Just
That's
beautiful, you guys.
so sweet.
Thanks, man.
Funny story about James Taylor, actually. He was on tour a couple of years ago, and he came to Chattanooga. And we were so excited. We were like, oh my gosh, we're so going to go see him because we love James Taylor. And we realized it was the same night as our album release show 2 years ago.
For our first album.
For our first album.
Oh,
and so we were, first of all, like, we have to compete with James Taylor on the same night. Like, and we were sad that we had to miss it. So.
Of course he won because he was in an arena and we were in a coffee shop.
Oh,
Yeah, so he got more people than we did. But
but I know the people that were there for you were blessed too. But
it was
but it has that same kind of sentiment. It's like an emotion is so hard to get in a song. So when you are describing where Main and Market meet, I love that. And also Signal Mountain
Yep.
and Eastridge
East Ridge and Lookout Mountain.
and Lookout.
Yeah.
Right? So
Those
the people
are-
that know the area know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the ridges that box downtown in. So you got Signal over here and Lookout, which comes to an end in Chattanooga. East Ridge and Missionary Ridge kind of close off the other side. And
Yeah.
right in the middle of this little tiny valley of ridges is our beloved city.
There you go. And cool thing is you never say the name of it till the very end.
Yeah.
That's so cool, guys. You're so smart.
Aw.
You're so
Gosh.
smart.
Hey, we're going to take just a quick break from the show so that we can let you in on some amazing things happening around here at Nashville Christian Songwriters.
Are you a Christian songwriter wishing you could be heard by the right people in Nashville? Yeah, we get it. You've been writing for years, but you have no idea how to be heard, how to get your songs out there, or how to connect your talent with opportunities. You feel stuck and wonder if you'll ever get a real break. NCS Bootcamp is your chance to be heard by taking your songwriting to a level you've only dreamed of. It gives you hands-on, personalized coaching and mentoring to help you think and write like a professional Christian songwriter determined to impact the world with your songs. If you're ready to empower your songwriting dreams, go to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com/bootcamp to book your free songwriting breakthrough strategy call today. Become the songwriter you were born to be with NCS Bootcamp.
Well, I just hope that you'll take advantage of that and check it out. All right? We bring you good stuff here on the Song Revolution podcast. So back to our episode.
Well, okay, so catch us up with what you're actually doing. You know, since we last talked, you know, what are your dates? What are you doing in your ministry and career?
Well, we just got back from 7 weeks in the UK. So we've befriended some folks that run a festival in England called Big Church Day Out. And they really believe in us, sort of similar to how you've sort of believed in us. And they give us the chance to play at their festival and rub shoulders. And
Yeah, which is an incredible festival. Like, it's just so amazing. And the other artists, like getting to meet the other artists and just getting to meet, you know, the campers and the people that come. It's always a special couple of weekends. So
so we kicked off our trip with that. And then in between that and our annual tour that we do with the gospel choir in Wales, we basically just hung out with our family. We played a few dates in Scotland, which was the first time for me up in Scotland. And around the UK, we got to go back to Turkey for a week, which is where we spend a lot of time. And so that was sweet.
yeah.
And then, it's just back. We got back about 2 weeks ago. So we've been trying to catch up on things that we missed here.
Yeah.
Tell us about the choir tour.
That was incredible. I mean, this was our third year doing the choir tour, and it's a church actually in Atlanta, actually the same church that asked us to write that song, Stronger Than One. They go on a kind of an annual trip to Wales with this gospel choir and kind of travel around the valleys of Wales and do these incredible gospel concerts in these old churches, which are absolutely beautiful. And for the last 3 years, they've kind of invited us to be on the trip with them. And so we sing in the choir with them. And we also sing a couple of our original songs, and a couple of the songs they actually sing with us. So Stronger Than One, we sang this year with the choir backing us. And oh my gosh.
That was amazing.
It's incredible. It's absolutely amazing. And so that's always a great trip. That was about 10 days. So yeah, it's always a good way to end a 2-month kind of tour away from home. So it was amazing. Yeah.
So now it's just back to booking shows around here and, you know, traveling. Our Toyota Camry is still our primary place of residence.
It's true. It's our tour bus and apartment at the same time, I feel like.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, so we released that album when we were in the UK. And so last month we released it. And just before we went to England for 7 weeks, we did kind of this big album release show in Chattanooga at this beautiful venue called Songbirds Guitar Museum, which is absolutely incredible. Like the best place, I think, to host concerts or go see a concert. It's really intimate. And so we did that concert there and kind of released the album to people in our city kind of before it was available everywhere else. So that was amazing. And then just kind of touring the album and getting to play these songs and share our story with people. So
Awesome. Now, where are you playing? Colleges, universities, coffee shops?
All of them. Yeah, we played at a restaurant last night here in the Nashville area. We're playing at this university that we've been to a few times in October called LeTourneau University
in Texas.
In Longview, Texas. We're playing at Toccoa Falls in August, which is in North Georgia.
Yep, we'll be playing in. We're playing actually quite a few markets in Chattanooga next month. So they have a lot of like farmers markets and things like that we're playing in.
Going to Oklahoma for the first time in October.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So we've got actually quite a lot of things coming up. We've got a few house concerts and coffee shops and bars like normal, and just doing everything we can really, and touring around.
Are you doing cover songs when you have to go to bars and stuff, to that kind of a venue?
Yeah, you mentioned James Taylor, and about every time we play a restaurant or a bar, we always throw a couple of covers in, and James Taylor is always one of them.
Yeah.
And people always come up to us afterwards and say like, I knew you were going to play James Taylor, or like, they just love it. So James Taylor's a staple for us.
Well, I think your guitar style is very similar, I think, to James Taylor.
He's like my musical father. I love James Taylor so much.
You know, you and a lot of guitarists, I mean, just he was so fresh in the day and has remained so iconic, you know, just still inspiring guitarists today. So that's awesome.
Timeless. Yep.
Totally.
But tell us a little bit about the new record and what's behind it, and let's do some more songs for sure.
Yeah. Well, we recorded the majority of it right here in this room. So this is our friend Riley's studio, and this is...
We worked on it for about 1.5 years, actually, which is funny because our first album, it took about 8 months. We just kind of did it really, really quick. But this time we just wanted to really take our time and, just let ourselves have room for creative ideas and things like that. And so slowly we've been working on it over the last 1.5 years. And our producer, Riley, is absolutely amazing and just brought these songs to life. Like we had all these ideas of how we wanted it to sound, and he just kind of, took it up like 10 levels.
Knocked it out the park.
So it's very similar style-wise to our last album, but I think it is kind of a next level. I think all artists want to continue growing and get better and stronger. And there are, folk pop kind of feel to it. There is a song on there that's actually like a spoken word rap song, which is completely different to us, but Drake wrote it about
6 years ago.
5-6 years ago, and
It's funny, that has become the favorite from the new album so far. Everywhere that we go, people comment on that one. It's got the most streams on Spotify by thousands.
Yeah.
No kidding. What's the name of it? Which one is it?
Creation to Salvation. And it's basically the gospel in a song. And it's very different style-wise for us. But when Drake first played it to me a few years ago, I got goosebumps. Like, it was just so powerful. And it was just God's truth, like, straight in a song.
Yeah.
And so we were thrilled to be able to put it on this record.
We've been holding on to it for such a long time because we knew the production, like, we didn't have the capabilities to make it sound like it needed to. And Riley brought that to the table. He had all the bells and whistles and was able to really bring it to life, but also maintain the sort of the rawness of how we perform it.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can do that one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can do that.
Creation to Salvation.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Here we go. So let there be life, and creation began, and God saw that it was good, so he continued with his plans, and he brought forth the earth from sea with the command, and in his very own image he breathed life into land, and it was perfect. Not a scratch or a flaw between the Lord and his creation, of separation at all, until the one was deceived and caused the other one to fall, and they were thrown out of the gate without a way to climb the wall, and it was hopeless. In a world of desperation and trial and tribulation and disorientation, and this is what it's like when we live in separation from God. Oh, oh, oh. So open up your eyes and rise and realize that there's some new emotion that's building up inside you. Set a limitation on what you can and what you can't do, according to a system that's against all that is true. It's got you and the rest of society entangled in his web made of fear and anxiety. You run from the voice of the Lord, scared that he'll release all the wrath that was stored for the sons and the daughters of hell. Satan and all of his angels that fell, and even before you the scriptures tell that they will not prevail, but you're scared because you disobeyed God as well. So when it all seems broken and you take a final breath, you see the words that were spoken. The penalty for this disobedience is death, and now you've got to face a consequence according to the evidence of living in a house that's painted by your sinfulness and running out of fear, not knowing that the Father is following because he says that you were made for more than this. And so he stepped down into time and space, took sin upon himself, hung in our place, and with nails in his hands and blood on his face, he says this is grace. And it covers up the most shameful thing that you have done, and is big enough for every living thing under the sun. And so it's time to forget this doubt to which we've clung, for God so loved the world that he sent his only son.
God,
So
how do you remember all that?
that's a great question. I have no idea.
Wow.
There's been many a times I haven't remembered all of that.
What do you
Or
do?
that you lose breath like halfway through.
Yeah, that's another thing that happens.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you forget? You just fake it?
I typically stop and say sorry, which isn't very professional, but I just figured it's best to start over with a clean slate. So.
I have trouble remembering like the second verse, to a song, much less
Yeah.
all of that. It's fantastic though, Drake. I mean,
Thanks, man.
you
Thank you.
deliver it so well for this like tall white guy.
Yeah.
You do, man. You deliver it just beautifully. So
I appreciate that.
It's awesome.
There's been a few times that he's been singing a song, not that one, but a different one, or a few different songs, and he'll forget the lyrics, and I can kind of tell because I can see in the look in his eyes as he's singing it that he's forgetting the lyrics.
Yeah.
But on the spot, he just comes up with new things,
Sure.
and I had no idea how he does it.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you just on the spot come up with things that rhyme and like just fit perfectly? I'm like, you're obviously a songwriter that just can.
A
Just wing it.
professional.
Those moments are more rare than she makes.
It's happened a few times.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I really admire that accomplishment. To write it is one thing, to deliver it that effectively is another thing. So
Thanks, man.
that sounds great.
Glad you liked
Appreciate
it.
it.
Yeah, tell us about the title. What does the venture mean?
The venture. Well, Lucy-Jayne and I don't argue a whole lot, but we talked back and forth about this title probably more than anything in our last 5 years.
It took us months to come up with the title because we had a theme in our mind of what we wanted this album to be, like what we wanted it to communicate. And it was, full of songs that we've kind of written while being on the road and things that we've learned and like lessons we've learned, the highs and lows of being musicians, but also in our Christian faith and the things that we're going through and even our relationship as a couple, as a married couple. And so we wanted it to kind of portray kind of the journey of life, kind of things that we're going through. Our first album was called Anchors Away, which is kind of the start of something, like anchors away, here we go.
Yeah.
And the venture or the journey was like, okay, we're in the middle of it. Like this is, we're on this path. But we didn't want to just call it the journey because that just felt...
Seemed a little bit bland and it didn't feel like it really represented the songs. So we thought about like the voyage, but with our first album being Anchors Away, it seemed kind of almost too similar and nautical,
Yeah.
You could have just done the rest of your career with nautical themes.
Yeah, that's true. We
that's
could,
true.
yeah, we could totally do that.
Slipknot.
Slipknot.
I think that's already been taken by a band.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, goodness. So, yeah, it took us months, but we, I think it was Drake actually that kind of one day just kind of said, how about the venture? And we both kind of stopped and we were like, that's perfect. That kind of just encaptures all of it that we're trying to say, that it's the venture means a dairy. I always say that.
Yeah.
I always say dairy instead of daring. A daring or risky journey. And so that's kind of what this album is, I guess.
Yeah, it's been our lives, really. It's a risky and daring journey. And the music that we've written has kind of come out of that. So I felt like it represented it well.
Yeah, and we were talking about that before we started the show today, that you guys are living the kind of lives that so many of our listeners imagine would be awesome, for them. The life of troubadours, traveling itinerant singer-songwriters. And so how's that working for you?
It's been incredible and really, really difficult. We have to balance the amazingness of being able to like show up in front of a room of people and share the songs that we wrote to share with the people that are there. And that's really fulfilling. But at the same time, we're gone for 7 weeks and we come home and our neighbors forget that we exist and our refrigerator's completely empty and the mailman's mad because he can't cram any mail into our mailbox because it's full.
Yeah.
So,
and there's lots of things we've missed and weddings and family reunions and, so there are definitely challenges and struggles and just being on the road in general, has a lot of hardships. And I think that people forget kind of about that challenge that comes along with it. But if you do feel called to it, and we certainly do, that's kind of something we have to go through right now and just learn how to balance making sure we have time with our community and also be on the road.
Another thing that is a little bit more difficult for us is that we don't play the kind of music that would per se get on radio. And so we don't draw commercial appeal from labels who want to, reach this demographic of radio listeners. We're a little bit more indie and even within, the genre world, we bounce from like singer-songwriter folk to, acoustic rap, if you will, whatever we just played, whatever you'd call that. And so
to pop as well.
And then, so it's we can't really count on building a team like, say, a person who was trying to do CCM, where there are labels who are trying to do this thing, and there's, the capability to hit radio. So it's been a little bit more difficult in that sense that we just have to do everything, all the booking and all the logistics and of our transport. And
It's been amazing because we have really close friends that have been so supportive and helping us out in any way they can with their gifts, with their giftings. And that has been a lifesaver, just kind of saying, hey, like, one of our friends is really good with social media marketing and like asking for their help with that. And one of our friends is kind of an accountant and can help us out with that kind of stuff. And so that has been amazing to kind of see our friends and our community kind of, swoop in and help us. Because I think they kind of see sometimes that we sometimes get to the point where, we are really tired and we're discouraged. And I think that's just part of the journey. But, having a community that can take care of you and look after you and make sure that you're okay. And
that's key.
It is key, yeah.
So you're living gig to gig, basically, whether that's Puckett's here in Nashville or Chattanooga, right? Because you play there a lot, or coffee houses or universities. No one's booking you if you're not booking you, and you've got to take care of yourselves. So that seems like that can be pretty hard.
Yeah.
It is. It's the last couple of months has been more encouraging, or the last year has been really encouraging because we have been working so hard to book, shows over the last couple of years. We're starting to see people contact us now for bookings, and kind of the word is spreading, and so that's really encouraging to see that all the hard work of booking ourselves is kind of getting a bit easier, which is great.
And also, we've been the one connecting with these places that we go to. And so it's a really personal relationship that we've built and maintained. And we've got really good friends kind of scattered all around America and England from people that we've just emailed out of the blue, like, hey, can we come and play at your coffee shop? So that is really sweet. And I wouldn't trade that for all of the tear and heartache that emailing people takes,
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah. It feels like we've got a community, just spread out all over the place, which is great. So
that's awesome. So along with that challenge, though, are the rewards of being able, like you were just describing, but being able to, in your own way, with your own indie music, share the gospel, even if it's not necessarily a song that mentions Jesus, right?
Totally.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that's sort of the main motivation in doing the kind of music that we do. Because like Lucy-Jayne mentioned, we did street performing and we appealed to completely secular audiences across the Middle East and North Africa. And we didn't want to just forsake that side of our hearts when we, decided to pursue music here. So the music that we make is intentionally created so that we can roll up in a coffee shop. And so even though we're not sort of chasing the radio label kind of route, we are really fulfilled in the sense that we can play a song that talks about stereotypes in a biblical way that doesn't talk about church or God at all, just sort of brings to light maybe a perspective that Jesus would have had without people knowing that it's a perspective that Jesus had. So that's really cool. And that's really, the heart behind what we do. It's the heart behind why our album looks and sounds the way it does. It's the heart behind why we are okay putting endless hours emailing people to book shows. Because that's the goal. It's to present the gospel and the thoughts of God to people who aren't familiar with them.
Yeah, and there's also songs on the album that are very open about our faith, and we want to write songs too that encourage and esteem believers as well in the church. So we do go to a lot of churches as well and lead worship and things like that. And so we do kind of have a wide variety of things and passions that we have, and people that we want to reach and encourage. So,
but your music is based on an underlying mission. Right?
Yep.
And so it's grown from that. And that's one of the number one thing that I wind up working with, not just songwriters, but artists as well. As I'm dealing with artist development issues, is what's your why? What is it you're about? And you guys know that. And that fuels you in the downtimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. You have to have that. Yeah.
Does that relate at all to the song "Why" on here? Or was that a good intro to that, or not? Or not really?
I mean, it's called "Why." Actually, the title that I originally wanted to do was "Why Do You Love Me Like You Do?" It's just sort of questioning the depth of God's love for us.
Okay, so that was a bad setup for that song. But you said you were. I thought I was being so clever.
That would have been really
That
cool.
would have been cool.
That would have been very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, it's still a great concept. So you mentioned earlier before we started the show that you've written a worship song recently. Is that on here? And
It is not.
It's not. Okay, but
No.
is that something you'd want to do now? And obviously we planned all this out, right? But what do you want to do next?
Yeah, we could totally do that.
Yeah.
It shows the other side of our ministry, really, in esteeming believers and giving them something that they can sort of anthemically declare in church and out
Okay.
of church.
What's it called?
Yeah.
It's called "Forever Amen." Yep.
Is this a debut for it?
It's very new. Yeah,
Okay.
we have recorded it, but it's not released yet.
Yeah,
So-
so I think it is. We may have done it on a Facebook Live one time, but I
Yeah.
doubt that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so this might be somewhat of a debut.
Cool. Well, this is "Forever Amen." Late in the night, he was stripped from the garden, questioned and beaten, and then crucified. His followers fled while the people, they mocked him. He bore our afflictions as long prophesied. Glory to Jesus for taking our place. Praise to the Father for mercy and grace. Oh, you sent us your Spirit so we meet again. For yours is the kingdom forever. Amen. And then death met its match. No, the grave couldn't hold him. And just like a ghost, he appeared to his own. His hurricane spirit empowered the people to speak revelation beyond what they know. Singing glory to Jesus for taking our place. Praise to the Father for mercy and grace. Oh, you sent us your Spirit till we meet again. For yours is the power forever. Amen. Still to this day, we are Israel's remnant, descendants of Abraham, blessed by his name. Our royalty sealed by the one who is worthy, the risen Messiah, the Lamb who was slain. Singing glory to Jesus for taking our place. Praise to the Father for mercy and grace. Oh, you sent us your Spirit so we meet again. For yours is the glory forever. All the kingdom, all the power, all the glory is yours forever. All the kingdom, all the power, all the glory is yours forever. All the kingdom, all the power, all the glory is yours forever. All the kingdom, all the power, all the glory
guys. That's just absolutely amazing.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's chock full of theology.
Yeah.
It's not like your typical repetitive one-liner worship songs. And no offense to those, because I love those too. But my goodness, you sent us your Spirit. You gave us your Spirit. You sent us your Spirit till we meet
Sent us
again.
your Spirit.
Oh my gosh, that's just a delightful line.
Oh, thanks,
It's
man.
awesome, and it's so biblical and so
much.
true. So
We wrote that one with a couple friends of ours, a guy named Ben Schaefer in Omaha.
I love Ben.
Yeah, so he's great. And then actually the third verse, my close friend Matt McCauley
Oh yeah.
in Chattanooga.
In Chattanooga.
Yeah, that's right. You know
Yes.
him. So I brought this song, kind of 2 verses and the chorus, to him, and I just said, Matt, I'm kind of stuck. Like, what would you do? And he literally just, there's the third verse. He put it out there, and
So nice.
yeah, that's how it is.
So nice. Well, it's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. I want to get back to just kind of your life as musicianaries a little bit, because obviously you're out there booking, you're doing everything you can to get the word about your ministry out, as well as make money. Because you gotta make money to live and pay the bills, keep the apartment paid for, and all those kinds of things. But there's also the donor base that you guys are building through Artist and Christian Testimony. And ACT International, I've known Byron Spradlin, who is the founder and still president, I guess, of ACT International. And I've known him for over 30 years. I think 32 or 5 years. He was one of the first people that I met here in Nashville when I came to town in the mid-'80s. You guys weren't born yet. I hate you for that. But, no, I don't really. But anyway, Byron was one of the first people that I met, and his heart is to support artists, and whether you're songwriters or musicianaries or whatever. And he started ACT. We just call it ACT. Some people call it ACT, but I can't do it. It's like, that sounds wrong. It's like, no, it's ACT International. And it was designed because of his pastor's heart to encourage and support ministries, right? Artists. And so when I met him years ago, I think he had like 12 or so people that he was mentoring and coaching. He created ACT as kind of an umbrella missions sending organization. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. So if you're part of it, if you're a staff member, which they call us, I'm actually part of it as well, then we can receive donations into our ministries, and then ACT issues the tax-deductible receipt. And so it gives you, without you having to go spend thousands of dollars and months of your life trying to figure out setting up your own nonprofit, they become this amazing umbrella organization. And they also have amazing coaching with Larry Moschel, right? And their staff of people there in the office are just absolutely amazing.
They are.
And I love them. And we said earlier in the show that that's how I met you guys at the AZT gathering, but you're now full on with them. Yes. And so that's giving you more of the ability to sustain this kind of life, right?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about that and how that's going.
Well, there's absolutely no way that we could survive just making money from shows, because a lot of what we do is ministry. We just want to give away a lot of our stuff, and we give away CDs. We play shows for free sometimes, and having ACT as really a partner enables us to have people who believe in what we're doing, who want to help us continue being able to give out these CDs and do these shows. Gives them the capability to help us actually do that. So there's a few things out now that help independent artists, like Patreon, or things where you can. It's like incentivized, like kickfund, like Kickstarter kind of a thing, but long term. And ACT is kind of like that for us, where people can help us continue to travel and play shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's such a huge blessing. It really is. So we're
as well
excited.
as offer us like spiritual guidance and training, like you mentioned with Larry and the whole team, who are just incredible. So they offer us that community as well, which we don't really have a lot when we're on the road.
Right. So a covering, if you will, if you know that kind of spiritual language,
Yeah.
right? You know, that's a little, we probably said that a little more in the charismatic world, but a covering and,
Yeah.
but we would say a foundation, a community, accountability.
Yep.
So I think that's really awesome. And I
is.
vouch for them. They're just awesome people.
Yeah.
And so do you have a page? Do you have a I say GoFundMe, but that's not what I meant. But, you know, do you
Yeah.
have a support page where people that like you or want to, or feel, you know, God calling them to support you,
Yeah.
how could they do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Giving Fuel page, and our kind of ministry under ACT is called Drakeford Music, and so I'd need to find the link for it. I think you might be able to find it on givingfuel.com, but if not, then you can just go on our website, which is drakefordmusic.com, and email us on there if anyone's interested in supporting us, and we can send you the link that goes
Right.
directly to our giving page.
But this
So-
coming week, you're going to put a button right on the middle of your page, right, that says support us.
Yes,
there
that's
might
exactly
be
what
one
we're gonna
already.
put.
There might be one.
There
okay.
might be one.
It
Yeah.
might
All
be,
right.
yeah. We're working on that.
Well, we'll put the link in the show notes as well. So
thank
if
you.
anyone listening loves what Drakeford is doing and feels like you'd like to support them, I'm just a big fan, and you know that, and just love what you're doing and always have. And
Thanks, Joel.
it's just getting better and better, you guys.
Man.
It's just getting so good.
Thank you. We wouldn't even be sitting on this couch right now if it weren't for you and NCS kind of helping us and empowering us to do what we were made to do. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Believing in
being
us.
Hey, listen, it goes both ways, and some of you listening might remember seeing Drake and Lucy-Jayne on our Instagram ads and on Facebook. I don't know how that happened. I really don't.
I don't know.
They did this 15-second thing for me in front of the Frothy
Frothy Monkey.
Monkey.
Yep, in Franklin.
And it just keeps showing up again and again and again
I know.
on Instagram. And it's like, I got embarrassed about it for a little while, and I thought, I should take that down. And then I was like, well, no, maybe it's helping them.
Yeah,
Maybe
honestly,
Yeah.
it actually has been amazing because we have traveled all over and we've met people that have seen us from that.
And like, aren't you the guys from NCS? We had
Yeah.
a guy in England come up to us at a festival.
Yeah.
And he was like, I recognize you guys. Are you the people from NCS? I was like, what?
Yeah, you saw the ad
I
on
love
Instagram,
that.
and it's just like it's reaching all over the world, man.
Yeah.
I love
amazing.
that. Well, I think we should leave it up for a while
Yeah,
yet.
why
I'm in
not?
favor.
Yeah,
As long as
absolutely.
people aren't tired of seeing us.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun. Well, you guys are absolutely delightful. Is there anything that you would say to our audience of aspiring songwriters? You know, and I'd love to do one more song if you're up for it. But
Yeah.
What would you say to anyone that is entertaining quitting their day job to go travel the world and sing their songs?
Well, our producer, Riley, he has a saying that is really incredible. It's very simple. It's dare to suck. And if you don't dare to suck and, you know, jump out there, play open mics, show people your songs, like get in your car and drive an hour to play at a church gig that it's invited you. If you don't step out there and dare to do it, then you'll never know what sort of potential God's put in you and in your songs and in the opportunities that he's presented. So
Yeah. Don't be afraid to try. Just go for it. You know, there's going to be so many lies and voices in your head saying that you're not good enough and you're not going to be able to make it work. But if God has done something in you and put something in you, then it's going to work. You know, it's just going to take time and perseverance.
and it takes growth. Like if he's put something in you, it doesn't mean that it's perfect already,
Yeah. Oh gosh.
for sure.
Yeah.
But being out there and not being afraid to show people your stuff gives you the capability to grow from where you are. And I think growth is really where God wants us to be. It's never perfection.
Well
That's a good
said.
word.
Well said. Good word. It's all about the process with God.
Yep.
It
For
is.
some reason.
Yep. It is. Yep.
Why does it have to be that way, God?
Yep. And sometimes that process hurts, but it's beautiful in the end.
Yeah.
Hence the title of your new album, The Venture.
Yep.
It's all about that process and that
It is.
journey
It
and
is.
all of that. Well, do you want to end with another song off the record, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. Should we do it like an older song from the last record, or do you want to do a new one?
Let's see, what songs do we have here?
Your choice. Your choice.
We could do Ready or Not since we just sort of talked about venturing out there.
Okay.
Love that. Good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
Is that I can find where I put my guitar pick.
Oh, I
There's
got it.
one right
I'm
here on
holding
the.
it.
There you go.
I still do.
Cool. Well, Ready or Not is sort of the thing that kickstarted this album because, as the title mentions, it's just sort of about realizing that life isn't about sitting around and waiting for things to happen, waiting for God to give you this direction or that direction. He's with you in the decision process, and so we're not meant to just sit idly by and watch other people run their races and wait for, our big chance. It's about stepping out there and running the race that you're called to right now. So it's called Ready or Not, and that's how I feel right now.
On your marks, please start your engines. These big decisions aren't meant to slow you down. Run this race with perseverance. Be sure to finish before your fire's out. Take your time, don't take it lightly. Invest it wisely before it all dries up. Keep your mind from second guessing all of your blessings and where they come from. Ready or not, whether you know just where you're headed to, give it a while, I promise I'll reveal my plans for you. And you don't know what you'll become. You're a man that's on the run, but I'm with you. Don't look back to where you came from when you were saved from the depths of your despair. Fix your gaze on the horizon. Just keep your eyes on the finish line ahead. Yeah, ready or not, whether you know just where you're headed to, give it a while, I promise I'll reveal my plans for you. And you don't know what you'll become. You're a man that's on the run, but I'm with you. Many run this race, few will finish. Some will lose their faith, their hope diminished. But if you look ahead, you will be sustained. I will make a way. Ready or not, whether you know just where you're headed to, give it a while, I promise I'll reveal my plans for you. And you don't know what you'll become. You're a man that's on the run, but I'm with you.
Drake and Lucy-Jayne, Lanier, Drakeford, awesome. Thanks for being here.
Man,
Thank
thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
us again.
Hey, what a fantastic show today. I hope you caught all the value bombs that were dropped on this one and that you'll begin to immediately incorporate them into your songwriting. You know, you can get even more valuable songwriting tools and inspiration when you join NCS membership. You can become a part of a growing community of songwriters from around the world and tap into some of the most powerful resources available to step you up in your songwriting destiny. Check out NCS membership now at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com and get ready for some exponential power to help you fulfill your call to write. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.